Today we're going to break down all the best grappling exchanges from this match. Now this was a very grappling heavy fight, and there's a lot of things that went down, a lot of technical situations, a lot of very interesting tie-ups. So we're going to take a look at the most interesting ones and break them all down. We got a beautiful valley drop from Evloev here. So look at how he drops, blocks the foot, and completes the takedown. Some small details here. He blocks the bottom of the leg, and instead of landing on his elbow, he lands on his shoulder and comes right up to his knees. Now, right after being thrown, Aljo does a good job of wrapping the head and heisting up. Now, at the same time as Aljo heists, Movsar looks for a seatbelt, but he switches back to that body lock and dumps him back to the ground, and Matt returns him. Aljo's going to respond. He's going to wrap a guillotine, an arm in, and he's going to look for that shin bar on the hip. Now, it's not strong enough, unfortunately, and Evloev is still able to hop to the safe side. Now, ideally, when we have an arm-in guillotine with the shin bar and our opponent looks to hop to the safe side, what we want to do is look to transition to an anaconda by flipping them over, by extending that shin bar like a butterfly hook and flipping their body all the way over. Now, this doesn't happen, and Aljo ends up having to release that guillotine, and he ends up in bottom side control. Now, pay attention to Aljo's left hand. He slowly sneaks it into an underhook, and he starts to build up, playing that underhook half guard game. He actually goes for double underhooks, or electric underhooks, as Eddie Bravo calls it. But the thing about those electric underhooks is they're kind of useless unless you want to play lockdown or you want to go for a roll under sweep. Or my favorite option, which is going to deep half. These are all options Aljo has right now. So watch this. He goes double underhooks, right? And immediately switches down to the leg. And from there, that double underhook is useless. And you can see right there, he takes that right arm out from hooking the leg to his elbow, to build up to his elbow. Which, in my opinion, is another rookie mistake. Now, Aljo's pretty much stuck in this position right here. And he shouldn't be, because he has an underhook and he's in half guard, which is like one of the most dominant offensive positions if you use it properly. Damian Maya. Cough, cough. Now, the reason he's stuck here and can't build up and start to get his offensive game going is two reasons. Number one is going to be his leg position. So look at his right leg. It's resting on top of Evloev's calf. And that's not the ideal position you want to be at when you want to come up. What you want to do is drop that to the floor, but at the exact same time, bring your other leg, so in this case, Aljo's left leg, would bite over that same shin. So you're not relinquishing control, you're just switching legs. And what I like to call is the dogfight leg work. So watch Eddie Bravo's feet here. The outside one comes up, and the inside one slips out. Now you come up to dogfight, and you have all your options. And yes, you can do it from this single leg style grip. So look at Aljo's left arm, goes to the single leg, right arm, electric underhook comes out, builds up to an elbow. Again, rookie mistake there. Now look, right here is where he should have done the dogfight leg work and continued building up to his base, and he would have had great attack options. But this brings me to the second reason that he wasn't able to do it. It's because of his angle. His angle's completely off. So if you look at the angle of both of their torsos, it's like a T, right? They're making a T. That's not what we want. If anything, we would want the angle of both of our torsos to be more like a V, or even better, like two eyes. So you can see they're basically 90 degrees here. This is not ideal for the type of sweep that Aljo's going for. This would be ideal if he were to come up to turtle without the underhook and start to play that Tellez turtle game. That's another great option, but he would have to relinquish his underhook or a single leg grip. So we know our angle's off, and we don't want to go to turtle. We don't want to play that turtle half game. Maybe we can't limp our arm out, or maybe we just don't want to. What's our solution? What we need to do is take our arm, in this case it'd be Aljo's left arm, and he would need to shoot it up really high south, right into Evloev's armpit. Like make real contact. Boom, shoot it up, and that would immediately bump Evloev up, bump him south. He'd have to post on his hands, most likely, which would do two good things. He'd have to remove his whizzer, which honestly we don't even care if he does or not, but it would just fix our angle and we'd be able to do our dogfight leg work and come up to dogfight a lot easier. By fixing the angle, we're effectively taking their weight off of us. You can see in this angle, a lot of weight is being put down on Aljo. So that covers that. That's why Aljo was kind of stuck in this position. Now we're going to look at something I mentioned earlier, which is why it's a mistake to come up to your elbow when trying to build up. 2 reasons, again. First, we do not want them to control our arm. When we come up into dogfight, to a certain extent, we want this arm to be free. Them having control over it just kind of makes it a lot tougher to, number 1, get up, and number 2, to, after we get up, get a knee pick or get a roll under sweep or anything. As long as they're controlling that arm, it makes it difficult for us. Now, the second reason that we don't want to use this elbow prop when we're playing this game is because our opponent can reach around with their other hand and actually wrap up a kimura, which is something that Evloev was actually wise enough to do here, which shows his grappling prowess is not only in wrestling but also in jiu-jitsu. Now, Sterling did a good job of, like I said, trying to improve his angle here. Watch as he rocks everything back, regains his underhook, and kind of improves his angle. Another benefit is he clears that wrist control that Evloev had. By rocking him back, Evloev had to post his hand on the mat. And like I said, sometimes the whizzer doesn't come out, but still, it's just a great reset. And it also helps the angle. The problem is, as soon as he regains that good angle, Evloev takes his angle back. You can see how he drops his chest a little to the right. And now they're back to this 90-degree angle. Now here's a really tiny but super important detail that you gotta notice. So look at Aljo's legs. He goes for that dogfight leg work. He brings the outside leg over and tries to slip that other one out. But you can see that as he gets kind of pressured down, his legs don't stay disciplined. And he kind of loses the half guard there, eventually going into a turtle position where he's no longer in a half guard at all. This is where Evloev takes that wrist control and starts to work on that kimura. It's actually not from half guard, but just know you can still do it from half guard. You can see that he looks to kind of grab the wrist. Aljo seems to be hip to it. He's kind of keeping that wrist away. Now Aljo's going to come up, but so does Evloev, and it's a race for height. But that's the end of the round. Aljo ducks under the hook and goes for a double leg. He does a great job of lifting the legs and driving with his head. Immediately he starts to collect the legs and go for that Khabib style leg ride. Now Evloev recognizes the danger here, which is why his first priority is to remove that leg. Now he turns his attention to Aljo's wrist. Now one thing he did throughout the whole match is hugging the head. You see how he's hugging Aljo's head? This is something that I don't think is great. I think he'd be much better off throwing that arm that's hugging the head into a whizzer, and since his leg's trapped, he can start to either look to free his knee line, the knee line of his left leg, the one that's trapped, or he can look to start controlling the wrist and doing what he does end up doing, is going for like this Uchimata style off balance. Now he's not controlling the other wrist, which is why Aljo is allowed to stay flat. This is why he doesn't flip. But that throw's not necessary. What he wants to do is use that whizzer to just create a scramble, and eventually he comes up on top. Now watch this beautiful cow catcher. So it's kind of modified because he's not actually hugging the head here, but he locks a gable grip in the armpit and just dumps him back. This is kind of like that Eddie Bravo 100% sweep style grip, and it's basically a cow catcher. And here he uses it in the same context that I usually use this cow catcher / 100% style grip, is when you're going for a guillotine and you feel like maybe you don't want it anymore or you're losing it. You dig under that armpit and then you just kind of twist, and you're gonna take them that way. It's gonna work really well. And sometimes if you're lucky and the guy is kind of lacking with his chin in the air, you can actually re-snatch the guillotine, and it becomes really tight because their chin is just kind of up in the air. They're not aware that you're gonna re-snatch it like that. So like this whole sequence here is just beautiful jiu-jitsu. Look at that, goes for the neck, switches off, says he doesn't want it. He comes under that armpit, hits him with a cow catcher, comes up on top, and he actually lands in a topside crucifix. You see he traps that arm. He has a nice underhook. His head's down. Very dominant position. Later on in that same round, Aljo looks to hit him with that fat man roll, or the Tellus steamroller, some call it, and ends up letting go of the wrist, which is a big mistake when you're going for that kind of move, and lands on the bottom. He does have a single leg though, so you can see as he looks to build up and try to attack that single. Evloev does a good job of throwing in a seatbelt and just diving back, pretty much negating what Aljo wanted. But it's hard to tell who actually initiated that dive back, because on the other hand, it does seem like Aljo kind of had a position here where if Aljo was able to collect those legs like you saw him attempt right there, he would have been able to come up on top in a pretty good position, like a reverse scarf I think he'd end up in. Now the reason that didn't work for Aljo is because you can see Movsar's seatbelt actually kept his arm away from reaching to his other leg. So Movsar's right leg, you can see, that's the one that Aljo wants to grab. He wants to collect both legs so he can come up, but Movsar's underhook there is what's stopping him from being able to reach all the way. So the problem now for Aljo is if he lets go of that leg, he gives up top position. But also, if he just waits here, more likely that he's also going to give up top position. So it's kind of a tough position to be in. So you can see he just commits, he stays on that leg. Movsar is trying to really jack that underhook up, but it's tough. And that's the battle. You can see Aljo still on that leg. Now he's in head outside single. Now this is an upgrade for Aljo here. It's definitely a better position than he was in just like 5-10 seconds ago. And he's about to make it even better. So watch his left arm. He goes from both on that leg, swims it out to the other leg, and starts to drive his head into the ribs as he pulls those legs into the air. Starts to really push on that double leg. Movsar goes for like this guillotine head wrap grip to try to defend this double leg, which is not great. And if you're wondering why he can't use a whizzer here, it's because look at that, it's just too far. When they're head on the outside, or if they're going for a double leg, you can't really whizzer them unless you pop their head to the inside. Then you can go for the whizzer. But he does not pop the head to the inside, so he's resorting to that head wrap grip, which eventually, although he goes down to his knees, it does kind of allow him to, I guess, semi-defend himself here. He's not fully taken down yet. He's down, but he still has a chance to get up. And just like before we saw, he's able to heist up from this position, and he's keeping the neck. You can see Aljo switches back to a single, looks to cut back. He wants to turn the corner. He wants to posture his head up and start to look to attack Movsar's back. But Movsar staying strong with his angle and with his guillotine grip, and it's tough. It's tough for him to pop his head through the back. So Aljo does the smart thing and switches back to the double leg. But nothing really happens here, and round number 2 is pretty much over. Here we go, round number 3. So Evloev is going to do some crazy spinning back fist and get taken down immediately. Same exact position. Look, here we are. The difference is Movsar has his leg free, but he has that guillotine grip, and he's kind of just waiting. Now Aljo traps his leg, and now we're in the exact same position as before. Now what I would advise Movsar to do here is to let go of that guillotine grip, wipe Aljo's head to the inside if he can, and look for either an underhook on the left side or a whizzer if he can. Just holding this guillotine grip is not that great. The other thing he could do is his knee line's out, so he could try to sit to his guard and kind of play that guillotine butterfly hook game, but he's not like a huge jiu-jitsu guy like that. He's not going to sit to his guard. So you can see Aljo again trying to pop out, expose the back. Evloev is trying to prevent that, so he's going for this guillotine grip. Another thing he could probably do is dig an underhook here on the right side. There you go. Digs the underhook. And here's another cow catcher attempt, but he doesn't go for it. He goes for the Uchimata instead and gets dumped pretty much on his forehead, which is crazy. Now Aljo body lock, looking to start throwing hooks in. Evloev here is just focused on getting back to his feet because that would effectively prevent the hooks to an extent. Now Aljo's gonna mat return him, boom. Now watch this sneaky Granby by Evloev here. So watch his right hand, Evloev. It looks like he kind of collects that wrist, almost looking to fat man roll him or tell his steamroller him. But he Granbys, which is really interesting. And from there he's able to come up, goes right to the underhook. But look at that, Aljo hops on him. Perfect flying triangle opportunity, by the way. Doesn't make that connection and gets dropped back down. So guys, remember this is very important. Anytime that we have an underhook without having any of their legs controlled, they have a really good opportunity to step over our legs and either mount us or go for flying triangles. Underhooks are really good, but we have to know when we're vulnerable when using them. And one of the times we're vulnerable when using underhooks is when we're doing it from like side control or just scramble positions where we have no control over any of their legs. Now, luckily, Evloev was able to come out on top in this scenario, but just a ground rule for all you guys, that's a really good thing to just know while you're going for underhooks. Just keep that in mind. So that's going to be it. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, and see you next time.